Hello and welcome back to another episode of STS. Hi, I'm Renee Scavington. This is Tom Coppola. We've been away for a couple weeks and we're back to talk about things in the world of parkour once again. And we're rewinding there's a lot has happened in terms of videos.
Yeah, it feels good to be back.
It does feel good to be back.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear
in the ether?
That's always a good question. If you can't hear us, say something and we'll try to fix it. Otherwise, we need to start talking about videos and stuff. So we have was it 2 weeks ago now that Modus Projects just kind of dropped the bomb?
The bomb.
Yeah, on everything. The bomb video.
I like the way you put that.
It was because that's what it felt like to me. I woke up one day and I don't know if they made any sort of mention via social media or anything that they were going to be putting up a video, because for me it was just like I woke up and it was Modus Projects times run London Resurgence and I was like, this looks cool. Oh my god, and that was kind of how it went.
Yeah, no, it was a surprise for me as well. I didn't expect to see that video, and I didn't expect it to be banger video.
What was the most surprising moment of that video for you?
I think the side pre to the rail was just. I mean, it's not. The thing is, it's not surprising. You know, I mean, Max Barker's been doing side pre's so clean, since I've seen him, in the spotlight. So it's not that surprising, but that was kind of the moment that was like, oh wow, right? That was the highlight of the video, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what most people are commenting on is the most surprising part of the video, or the biggest part of the video. But there's still some other crazy stuff in there.
Well, the interesting thing is, everybody's talking about this. This video is the best parkour video that's ever come out, right? That's because it's a mix of a lot of the top talent, next generation, basically kids, and they've sort of taken the level to the they've taken it to the next level. But I found that the video itself as a watch, I'm gonna be probably the only person that's gonna say this is I didn't like the song, and I felt like I didn't have any room to breathe in between big awesome moves.
A lot of people are complaining about the song, but I was actually digging it. To me, it was just very, very reminiscent of another great video, which was. The other one is with Jaden Clark. What's it?
The storm.
The name is escaping me right now.
London
Damn
is
it.
burning.
London is burning. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I wouldn't have thought about that. Thank you.
Well, see,
but because that one had people complain about that song too, and I think that one was a little bit more palatable, I guess, as far as a song choice. Mm-hmm. But there was still kind of the similar complaints, oh, the song's too crazy or out of it. I think it's just fitting for the subject matter.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, and I actually liked that song better, the London is Burning song, and I felt like if that song was used in Resurgence,
well, if they just used it again, or used it.
Well, in a different world, right? Mm-hmm. It would have been super fitting, but yeah, I don't know. It was really overwhelming. It just didn't it didn't feel right. But I mean, it did match with the tone that they're trying to set, right? It's just super fast pace and just we're gonna do bangers all videos, or all the whole video, right? But that's actually a complaint of mine about the video, is that it was too overwhelming. There's too many good things in it back to back.
That's probably a good complaint.
I didn't think I would ever complain about that in a parkour video, but it honestly, it's I don't have any time to to reflect in between some of the crazy stuff that happens, because it's just like, oh no, my brain has to process this other crazy thing that happened.
Yeah. I think my initial comment on the video, I can't remember if I posted or not, which was just, I have to rewatch this.
Yeah.
Like that's basically how it felt, was I have to rewatch this thing. It's kind of funny that they chose to go short and hard hitting like that with the other sort of projects that especially Giles is involved in right now, where it's longer edits, like with the store RCA, that's going to be a longer edit video.
Yep.
So it's just kind of I don't know if that is surprising, but going with a shorter edit instead of a longer one, when kind of that's what we're working on right now. And I don't really know where I was going with that, but
well, yeah, it was fast paced, short, and really sweet, right? it had a lot of crazy stuff in it, but was the side pre to the rail, was that the highlight of the video?
It actually wasn't, and I might be crazy, but for some reason I thought I had already seen it. And I don't know. I was like insisting to someone that I'd already seen it, and just knowing that seems to be what Max Barker is getting known for, is that sort of thing. Like there's a video of him just drilling side flip to sticking like a regular ledge, but it's such a clean stick that everyone's like, oh, this is better than most people would stick to some normal precision, and he's doing a side flip, and then it's the side flip, and then you come out facing front, which is different than how a lot of people were doing side flip prees or side flipping across gaps in the past, where it was just kind of standard facing sideways, either exiting facing back the way you came, so kind of going shoulder in a bit too much, or just coming out sideways. But this kind of newer style of turning front obviously allows you to stick edges, which I don't think was in people's heads a couple years ago. Yeah.
Well, I mean, side prees have been done to rails, but along in the same path, right? It was sort of still aligned with the way a side flip naturally is positioned, but it's the whole quarter turn forward thing that is. I mean, it's not that new. People have still been doing it. It's just Max has taken it to this next level.
Yeah, I just don't recall even last year seeing people stick landings out of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to side flip, face forward, and
well,
boom.
he did it in the Origins project.
Oh, I guess that was last year.
That was last year.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this is the coolest thing about the way the sport has been progressing is people, when I first started parkour, it was crazy to me that people could just jump to railing and stay on it. Right. And now it's the accumulation of all this development of the sport, and, this 15-year-old kid is able to do a rail pre, but with an inversion, right? It's a cool thing to see the sport progress to. We're really in a cool stage of parkour.
Yeah, man. We got some other moments in that video too, where Kellen does. Is it? I'm kind of lost. I have to watch the video again to see kind of what move it is. But he does a diving pass over two walls. They look similar to the IMAX walls, but it's definitely a different location. Is it a touchdown A twist or something?
He calls it a touchdown A twist, but yeah, that's basically what it is.
Okay.
That's a huge gap, and people don't really do that. It's not something that you see.
It's another kind of innovative move that. It's coming just out of that crew. It's the other thing I actually wanted to talk about today is just because we'll be talking about another video from that part of the world, but just how, at least in the video world, the UK is back into dominance in the sport. There was a period of time where even just talking to guys from the UK and they might still feel this way, but where there was talk about the scene is dead. the scene in the UK isn't what it used to be back in the, the Danny and Phil era, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Where, like the Ampy Sound videos were coming out. There, I can't remember the names of them, but where it just looked like there was a very you have Livewire, you have Daniel Baca, you have Philly D, and then everybody else, and those seem like kind of like the golden days, and then and that could just be the outside perspective or certain people's opinions, but after that, a lot of people were saying, oh, the community in the UK is dead, and now we have a store coming out with everything they're coming out with, the Brewman Parkour, the Run London, and Storm, all just coming out with amazing, innovative videos, right?
This is the thing. It's you could look at it as like the golden era where like everybody was together and training together. But the reason you look at it that way is because the community was a lot smaller and it was much more rare to see somebody else practicing parkour. So you all kind of came together, and that's the same is true for in the U.S. I'm sure in Canada as well, right? So. But now you see. So for a while, I think when people were like, "Oh, the community is dead," it's because there were groups that were splintering off, and like instead of like hanging out with everyone that does parkour, you're like hanging out with the people that you enjoy being around more, or fit your demographic better.
You think the lack of the like bigger jam togetherness is the same thing as saying the community is dead, though? Just to play devil's advocate here, like if because if you have jams happening and everyone's together and it feels like this very large group, but it is also like a tight group, and then that group splits off into like separate teams, and there's not as many community events or big jams going on, wouldn't that be kind of like the same as the community dying a little bit?
It's not, because you look at like something like the Nye is. I can't remember the name.
I know what you're talking about.
The jam, but it was to celebrate Nye's from Brewman's, life, I guess. Mm-hmm. But that brought together hundreds of people, right? And I don't know. I still have yet to be to go to the UK, so I don't really even know what it's like. But I imagine that when events are put together, it's probably rarer that they happen, but when they are put together, when Horsham banned parkour, they had a big jam, right? Like when those events happen, people come out for them. And I think the same is true all around North America too. Like the big jams still happen and people still go to them. Hubbable, Beast Coast, Fool's Jam, whatever. We just went to Bay Jam. There wasn't like a crazy amount of people, but there was there's a good number of people who are from that area.
I think I'm more in agreement with you in that people were excited that they're doing something new. Parkour still had a very new feel 6 or 7 years ago versus now. If you're doing parkour now, it's established. The scenes and the communities and the teams are established, so you're coming into something that's already established. Maybe it doesn't feel quite as special as it did 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you there. I mean, I get nostalgia all the time, thinking back to like when I was first starting parkour, the way it felt, the community that I felt. I still feel community now, but I just happen to feel it with a tighter knit group of people that I, associate myself with, or get along with, right? It's a matter. It's it's something that I've had to tell myself is I don't have to get along with everybody that does parkour.
Yeah, I remember someone saying that to me, like, or not saying the opposite. Basically, a couple of years into parkour, where there was a big theme of I've never met anyone that does parkour that I don't like, and I'm thinking, really?
Yeah. I mean, it happens. There's gonna be people that you just don't gel with as much, and there's a big generation gap as well. I mean, like you and I are, well, you're 30.
31, man.
31, sorry. Well, you're 30s, right? I'm getting up there too. I'm getting close to the 3 decades mark. But a lot of I would go to jams all the time, and I'm hanging out with people, and then I realize, oh, I'm like the only adult here, or I'm the only one that's not a teenager, right? And and the cool thing is that it doesn't seem to matter, because I still get along with a lot of people in parkour, but there's a generation gap there as well. So there's going to be things that I think about or have experienced in my life that some of the people that I'm around at a jam just like haven't, and so there's a divide that's based on age, and that's just one factor.
Well, the other is training age too.
Training age
The,
too. Yeah.
the funny thing though is those numbers always get smaller the bigger they get. I just remember a time thinking, oh, I've trained for 6 years and you trained for 3 years. Trained double the amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And then it becomes, I've trained for 13 years, you trained for 10. Doesn't sound like as much. It's kind of evens out at that point, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with age. Like there's so many kids from this community that are adults now. That I knew, and when I started seeing them at jams or in classes. I was 21 years old, and they were 13, and now they're 20, 23. I don't know the math, but they're in their early 20s, and I'm 31 years old, and it's like, oh, we're the same now.
Yeah,
we're both grown men. Cool. All right.
Yeah. No, I
Do you want to grab a beer? We can.
Yeah, that's legal now. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I kind of want to go back to the video really quick.
Yeah, we're way off.
We got way off topic, but it was good.
It's cool. It's been a while.
Yeah,
since
it has been
we
a while.
were able to go off topic.
Yeah, we haven't spoken to each other since the last episode of STS. No, but so the Resurgence video, it was something that I had noticed, and it was, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just wanted to bring it up, and it's interesting to see the style that's developed in the London community. It's like basically like massive Kongs and like big flips, but like flip gaps and stuff like that, and then like. There's only a handful of those of clips in that video where it's like, I'm gonna use the word. There's like lighter technical movement.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
There's like I want to say like 3 clips in the whole video where it's like lighter technical movement. The rest of it's like Jaden Clark doing a massive front flip punch Rudy. Or
that was actually one of my more surprising moments when we were talking about that earlier. Was that combo by Jaden Clark?
See, I think I had seen it in an Instagram video that he
so
posted.
You're having the same. See, and that's how I felt. Max's real Prius. Yeah. I thought I'd already seen it, but.
But it was like a different angle. It was like a phone clip, and I remember being like super blown away by that. And then when I saw it in the video, I was like, oh, cool, like that makes sense. But did you notice this like very specific style, and it's that's kind of around that community where it's like,
well, I think that video
moves.
but that video was about that, because those guys, if you follow them, they're training on Instagram, they do smaller movement, they do but again, I think what you're saying is it's not like a gut video. Or where we're seeing
it's
vault
not cavemen.
lines. That too, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not like technical descents or finding these roof spots where they can create lines.
It's like there's 2 walls. I'm gonna do big old flip over it and then tumble out of it. Or
it's like pushing the movement on like the more basic structures.
Yeah.
In like a really powerful way. Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
I thought that was kind of interesting because there's like a well-roundedness to the video, but there's also like a very highly specialized aspect to the video, and it's hard for me to kind of put it into words, but it feels like wow, they have a very specific style of big power moves, big power flips, big double Kongs, big Kongs, and it's very specific to those moves, and it has a less emphasis on putting more, chill lines together.
With the exception of a couple of things too, it's all classic London spots.
Right.
Except for excluding stuff where, like, for example, Max Bruman's, what's his actual last name, by the way?
Barker.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. The step up, basically, it's like he goes to that spot. Okay, there's a block I can step up on, and I think I can side flip to that rail. That's probably what he discovered someday.
Yep.
There's nothing special about that spot. That's a pretty
standard wheelchair access, right?
Yeah, most people just walk by that as not really a spot where you can do a lot to train on it, because if we're looking at just that rail pre as just a pre, it's not a very big rail pre until you go upside down and then land on it. That video too, the behind the scenes of that, I want to talk about that a little bit. I just found that, I don't know if you agree, but I found that the bounce backs to me were more impressive than what he actually did with the line. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like just being able to control bounce back compared to actually landing on top and then going out of it.
Because I guess we're calling it he did a precision. He at no point did he stick it, and I'm not trying to take anything away from it because that would be an incredible feat on its own. But basically the intent and the finished product was that he was going to essentially do a plyo. But I almost don't even count it as a plyo, because the next block he has to jump to is so close that he can basically overshoot and then kind of skip to it.
But at the same time, it doesn't look like he overshot it. It looks
really controlled.
Controlled the hell out of it.
That's
and
true.
then moved out of it, very deliberately.
Yeah, I'm sounds like I'm poo-pooing on it right now, but what I'm trying to say is that to me, the fact that he did one bounce back where it was like very toesy, and then kind of did, I think he ended up doing 3 bounce backs in total before calling it quits. That was really impressive to me, because if you've jumped to a rail before, overshooting a rail is a lot easier than undershooting a rail. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, no, like the watching that process, it was actually, compared to the other behind the scenes videos that Giles has been putting out, that one was like the least. That was like the most anticlimactic, because it's like when he like finally does it, and it's just like, oh, and he did it, and then he like repeats it 5 times.
Why is he still going? He wanted to swing through. Yeah, okay.
No. That was it was kind of but it was really cool that he was able to demonstrate that consistency, and respect that he actually walked away from it, because I think it could easily get in your head that like, oh, I didn't really get it the way I wanted to, so you're just going to keep doing it. And, he started to put less power into it. And so, and something so technical like that, man, like it's really easy. Like it's really easy to just, to try to keep going at it and then just start failing it, because you're just something about your brain is just doing it wrong. So, respect to him that he walked away when he did, because I don't think he needed to prove that he could do a swing, 2 corks, right? I don't think he needed to do that. No. He needed to prove that, right? Like he already proved that he's a 15-year-old man. We don't need to see him do a swing cork. But yeah.
Going back to what you said earlier about the video, I about it just being too much at once, I think it would actually be really cool to see a behind-the-scenes edit of the whole thing. So a half an hour video that kind of shows the break, because right now it's coming out in episodes. And I understand the reason for that, but it would be cool after all the episodes are out if another edit came out where I could just sit down and watch a half an hour breakdown of like the whole video.
That would be very cool. I'm sure it's more work for Giles.
Nah, just put the episodes together. You can do it.
I've been really enjoying those behind the scenes videos. In particular, I really appreciated the Luke Stone's double Kong.
I haven't watched that one yet.
And I'll tell you why, because in the video that happens, and like I said, it's like because the video is like there's no room to breathe. I didn't even know he did that double Kong.
Oh, you missed it.
It went by like it was nothing. And that behind the scenes was really cool. It was a really cool process to watch him go through, because he you start to appreciate the scale of it, because he's working up to it in different ways. Like he's practicing doing like the dive Kong, or he's just Konging over the first wall and just taking the drop to see, like, to gauge distance and power. And he's doing other dive Kongs that are easier to do, but you know, for him, but still like challenging in some ways. So yeah, that was a really cool process to watch, and you get to really appreciate that clip a lot more once you see him go through the process. And I'd like to see that in more parkour videos, because like so much of parkour is just highlight reels, not the process that it takes, to get there.
Yeah, I mean we've talked about this here before, where personally I just feel like I'm hungry for longer break. Like we talked about that when we were talking about Jason Paul's freeze running video, how I mean, for me, I didn't appreciate the finished product as much as I appreciated the blogs, except for like the parts where he's just running around and eating food and stuff like that. But
did you see it? Did you see how he cut his head up?
I actually haven't watched it yet.
Oh, you didn't watch it.
Don't ruin it for me.
You don't. Okay.
No spoilers, please.
All right. Cool. Cool. So I think we can. Do you want to move on?
Yeah, I want to talk about. Unbound.
Yeah,
the Unbound trailer with the. Can we talk about the intro first? Can we talk about?
Yeah. Let's talk about Zeitgeist.
Yeah. We sent this to our broadcast guy Andrew, our broadcast guy for Sport Parkour, and just like this is the best, this is gonna be the best parkour video ever made, or like this trailer alone is potentially one of the best parkour videos ever made. And he's like, "What's with the Zeitgeist intro?" And he's just zero, just completely. Anyways, I when I watch stuff like that, I don't. It's not really my taste. When I watch really epic intros to parkour videos, because I'm already in it, I already know what parkour is. But I appreciate it, and I understand why that's part of the video, and I think other people really like it.
Yeah, it was like poetry. It was nice.
Yeah. I want to know who did the voiceover too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to know where if it almost felt like it could have been just from another video entirely, not even for parkour. That voiceover was just taken from.
Yeah, I mean
something
maybe,
else.
But I doubt it. I feel like it was purpose made. But if it wasn't, then good job on sourcing that clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Unbound.
Woo!
Some of the biggest things ever. I mean, we were just talking about some of the biggest things ever in Resurgence, but potentially even bigger, because Phil Doyle and Dylan Baker. I mean, yeah, I can't wait to see this film.
Yeah,
I want to know when it's coming out.
Just a trailer alone is one of the best parkour videos ever made. Just a trailer, because it's got about the same length as Resurgence.
Mm.
They're pretty. I don't know the exact minute, but they feel like the same length of video. Although because of the intro for Unbound and kind of it has more of a roller coaster effect to the edit. It builds up and then it kind of has some downplay and then it builds up again. So for it's like a long trailer, but it doesn't feel long and it feels enjoyable. Whereas what you were saying about Resurgence is just kind of the whole video is just up here the whole time.
Yeah, redlining the whole time. I'm basically I had 4 cups of coffee. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I just felt like Unbound for a video, if you wanted to, and maybe this was the intention, if they wanted to show it to audiences that don't do parkour, it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's the kind of edit you want to put together.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what else to say.
I don't know what else to say.
I guess same thing we said about Resurgence. What was the most surprising moment of that whole edit for you?
It was cool seeing. Well, it wasn't cool seeing this, but when Dylan took that like meaty like crane. where he, like,
I wonder if that's
undershot a
I wonder
jump.
if that's like the finish of that challenge, or if he does it again.
Well, apparently he hurt his foot on it, so I don't know if he did
Okay.
it again. But that, yeah, it just looks massive, and it's like, oh, like why would anybody do that?
There's also I don't know if you picked up on it. Excuse me. He descends Brooklyn Zoo or Brooklyn Beast.
I did not see this.
Yeah, I think I only know because I was someone told me that he did it, and I when he does it in the trailer, I'm like, oh, that's where it is. But there's a part where it's like you can see behind view of Dylan, and he's like jumping down, and you see a cityscape in the background.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's on top of.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Pretty sure I'm getting the facts right here. But yeah, he when they visited there, Dylan Baker just figured that he could work something out where he gets from the top of that 3 or 4 story building to the ground pretty fast. And they only show like a little. They only show a little glimmer of it too. They only show like him just kind of starting up from the top. So that looked pretty epic.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say anymore. It's gonna be epic just based on. I mean, if they don't even release the film, like,
I just want to watch the trailer again right now.
Yeah.
We don't have a monitor facing this. This sucks, but I don't know. Maybe Derek is hooking up people with clips of it, but I just want to see. He's turning around a monitor for us. All right. I don't know if people have time for this. Oh, cool. We're watching it. Anyway,
yeah, Alex is in this.
yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Right here we go.
Oh, okay.
Dylan Baker dropping down.
All right.
Yeah. That's what that was.
And so that's at the Brooklyn Zoo.
Yeah, or whatever they're calling that gym now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the zoo. Cool.
Yeah, just thought, like I don't want to talk about my favorite parts of the video. I just want to enjoy. I think just as an edit, as an edit piece, it's one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
to come into parkour. So, well done again, Giles and crew. Well done. Giles is on everything.
Dude, he's
this
like
year.
he's killing
he's
it.
the parkour producer. I just feel lazy thinking about all the stuff that Giles is creating.
Well, Giles doesn't have to run a gym. Yet. he's got a clothing line, and then, he's going to open Giles Gym.
Anyway, I guess I shouldn't feel totally lazy because we finally got our league tour announced.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, we got more stuff coming out. We just wanted to make sure that information's out there for those of you that need to buy plane tickets and whatnot.
Cool. So, league tour. We're going to be in Orlando in April.
Soon. A month.
1 month.
Mm-hmm.
Almost exactly 1 month.
I'm pretty sure I remember all the dates, but I'm just going to pull it up just so I don't totally mess up here.
Yeah, so Orlando, we're going to be at Urban Ninja Parkour Gym. Should be a fun event. I was there actually for the first time in December or January, I can't remember, earlier this year. And it's a pretty cool setup. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff that we can do with putting together an event. You got a date for us?
That's April 22nd and 23rd, and it's both days. So what we're trying to do with a lot of the competitions for the qualifiers and for NEPC this year is we're doing them as multiple day events. In the past, we've tried to squeeze everything into one day, and it ends up being, when we do a live stream, it ends up being a longer broadcast. So we're doing it across multiple days.
Yeah.
Which feels kind of risky, but we're doing it anyways.
Yeah, so we're going to actually be bringing our live stream kit over to all the rest of the events that we have coming up. So we're going to be able to stream the event, and if you can't make it for whatever reason, then you're going to get a chance to watch it. But you're not going to be able to compete in the event.
So we'll just quickly touch on some of the other events. So we already kind of mentioned Orlando. It's the Orlando Parkour Open at Urban Ninja. That's April 22nd, 23rd. At Hub, the one and only Hub. Some other phony hubs out there, but the one and only Hub in Boston, Hub Parkour Training Center.
PTC.
May 6th and 7th is the Eastern Parkour Championships. I went there last year. Lots of that brings out all the East Coast talent.
Yeah, that was a really fun event. It was a difficult one to put together because we were there on short notice, basically. But this year it should be even better.
Yeah, we're also Dylan Pullen, owner of Hub. He's been talking about trying to get some outdoor elements to the courses.
Yeah.
So that'll be something to look forward to if you've been there before for either an event or just to the gym. There might be a couple of new surprises in store. Those guys really like to put effort into building new things for events too. So if you've been there before for an event, expect something different at this one. All right. Then we have June 4th and 5th. We're going our only Canadian event this year, other than NAPC, which is going to be at Breathe Parkour, their new South location, which is a massive gym. And that's going to be the Canadian Parkour Championships.
In Calgary,
Alberta, Cowtown.
Yeah, I actually haven't been to Calgary yet. So This is going to be my first time.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It's nice.
It's nice.
Yeah, Calgary's nice. It's oddly enough, I find Calgary to be a lot like Portland.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a smaller city. It's got like a village kind of vibe to it.
Smaller city. I thought Calgary was like huge. Like
it's smaller than Vancouver, dude.
Like the actual coverage of like maybe.
Oh, I don't know about that,
areas.
but it's top population wise, like it's
okay.
not as big and bustling. So yeah, that's going to be again June 4th and 5th, Canadian Parkour Championships, Breathe Parkour in Calgary. Breathe Parkour southern location because they have 3 gyms in Alberta. And then we have July 15th. That's going to be a one-day event because that's going to be an outdoor competition hosted by Parkour Visions in Seattle. It's July 15th, and that's going to be the Western Parkour Championships.
Yeah. We'll be doing that at the Waterfront Park again this year?
Yeah, potentially at a slightly different location.
Cool.
So
that should be fun.
We can't say for sure yet, but it was so cool to do an outdoor competition on actual like concrete structures and things. Like the Parkour Visions crew, they're able to bring so much gear from their gym so easily. They have so much modular equipment they can bring out to events, but just having actual real walls and stuff just really created a very unique event. So that was very cool last year.
That was really cool to be a part of. Really happy that we were able to do an outdoor event. There's it's such a rare opportunity.
All right. And then finally, August 25th to 27th in Vancouver, right here at Resurgence Parkour, NAPC 5. So day 1, August 25th, is going to be a long day because we're doing qualifiers for all 3 events for men and women's divisions. And then the 26th and the 27th will be NAPC, will be the finals.
The main event.
Main events.
Of the evening.
The main evening events. Yeah. Okay. I think we plugged that enough.
Yeah.
You think? It was a good little
well, enough here on STS.
Yeah. We got some more things coming out with last year's footage as well. We have tons of 4K footage that we recorded from last year's NAPC. We haven't released yet, so you have that to look forward to. As soon as enough of us can get behind computers and start editing.
Mm-hmm.
Just need to hire. I need Giles' help.
Giles. Cool.
All right. Should we go to questions? I think that's. Oh, hey Siri, what's that?
How did that happen?
should we maybe go to some questions? I'm gonna. Any questions or comments? You can leave in the comment thread. I know we didn't announce that we were doing today's show. We just wanted to make it happen. No technical difficulties today that I'm aware of. Derek, can you confirm? Not really. Not you can't really confirm, or we didn't. Not worth talking about. All right, cool. Whoa, that's me. All right. Yeah, let's look. Whoa, okay. Some stuff going. Okay. It's at Sid Moore, 2 a.m. I don't understand. 2:15. Okay. Streamer's dead. Starting now. All right. Again, if you watch this show live, thanks so much. We will keep doing this for as long as you guys keep watching. So if you want this show to grow and get better, please give it a like, leave a comment. Most importantly, share it on social media with your friends. That helps us out a ton. All right, let's. What do we got here? A lot of comments, not a lot of questions. Oh.
Tom Taylor is going to be posting the league tour on his new website, Jump Disclosure, which I'm just going to go ahead and give a plug. I don't know actually the full website URL.
Oh, his website is Jump Disclosure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw a link for that on Facebook for one of the competitions in Boston.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, just the way the Facebook page looked, I thought it was actually a page that they had made.
Oh, okay.
That Hub had made. I didn't know that was actually the name of
Tom
his,
Taylor, he's I guess it was kind of just like Parkour calendar or whatever, and then he just, or Parkour event calendar, and then he just decided to make it Jump Disclosure, which is cool. It's cool to have a hub of, it's cool to have a hub of all the events that are happening around the world, competitions, jams, whatever, because it's really easy to get lost in the events that are happening around. So it's cool that he's putting it all in one spot.
Okay, we got a quick question about, I guess it's not a quick question, but one question about women's qualifiers. So women's qualifiers, why we're doing women's qualifiers at some events and not others. So this doesn't mean that we're not going to be doing a women's competition at the qualifying events or as part of the tour. Each location will definitely have a women's division and a women's competition. Not each event will be taking qualifiers to move on to NAPC. We simply look at a map. We look at where we've been, who we know that basically has talent from out there, and that's how we make our decision for how many qualifiers. So this affects the men as well. If you look at the schedule and the details, we have some events where we're only qualifying one male competitor out of a whole competition, and at some other events we're qualifying 2 or 3. Because the men's division is ultimately going to be bigger, we can afford to have more male qualifiers at the end of events than we can for women. So we just had to choose based on geography and kind of where we've been. We haven't been down to Orlando yet to do a competition, so this will be the first time out there. And none of this stuff is really set in stone either. If all of a sudden we're overwhelmed, I think, by a women's competition, we would put forth a qualifier. It just makes sense. We can basically change this on the fly as we need to.
Yeah, the big part of it is we want to make sure we can maximize the talent that comes to NAPC. So we want to make sure that we left spots open for the on-site qualifiers because it's more likely. Well, we think it's more. Our assessment is that it's probably going to be more likely that that high level female talent will come out to the NAPC on-site qualifiers than a smaller qualifier that we're doing outside of NAPC. So
yeah, we decided to stack the on-site qualifier to make sure that we leave room for international talent. It's basically it is. We figure there's going to be a bigger turnout. We're unsure what sort of what sort of turnout will happen in Orlando. Just talking about last year's experience in Boston, for example, we had one woman show up to compete, and it doesn't.
In Boston?
In Boston for
style.
freestyle, yeah. And then she ended up not finishing the competition. So it's hard to justify doing a qualifier when you only have one person show up, because it's basically becomes an automatic qualifier.
Yeah. You have to compete to get in. And if there's no competition, then we're not just going to okay you for a qualifying spot for the North American Parkour Championships.
Also, to add, we are doing women's skill qualifiers. So if you go on Sport Parkour League on Facebook, there's a whole description of events, and you can see which events are doing qualifiers for women on there for skill, which is something we've never done before.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think we covered it.
All right, next, a question about will you guys make more Origins method videos? Yeah, actually, that's on a list of things to do. I actually have a couple made that we just haven't put out yet, but we do intend on finishing 52 of those videos. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to make them quality, and I think we took a little bit of a break from them because we realized we were just kind of recording videos and they weren't always giving the best. So we always want to make sure that for those particular videos, the mission behind them was to put out quick, short instructional videos where we kind of talk about one thing, but it's one thing that's not super intuitive to practicing a skill. So kind of zeroing in on one trend of a skill or a method of practice in parkour and just talking about it for a minute and trying to come up with something that you can immediately add to your training. Obviously, doing that every week is a bit of a challenge, but we will be getting back on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of things we're juggling right now, but it's definitely something that we want to make sure we get back to. So it'll happen soon enough.
Okay, we got one more question here. Not really a question, though. This is thoughts on training alone versus training with friends. I don't know if that's a question so much as can you talk about it?
Yeah. I like training with my friends. There's times when I'm training where I just want to be left alone. And there's value to training alone for sure. The motivation has to come from somewhere else. Sometimes it's easier to be motivated to do a jump when a friend of yours is trying it with you, or they're like telling you, yeah, you got it, or whatever it is that your group of friends uses to motivate people. But if you are training alone, you have to find that motivation somewhere else. You have to find it from within, like figure out why you want to do the jump, and if it's a really scary skill to do, then you got to break through that fear barrier. And I think it's a lot harder to do it when you're doing it alone versus when you're around friends. So those are my thoughts, I guess. I prefer small group training. I don't really like to train at big jams. I usually use jams as a way to socialize. Those are my thoughts. Do you have any thoughts, Renee?
Just one really. It's when we kind of talk about this, it's not. I think we could go on and on about reflecting on. I feel this way when I train alone. I feel this way when I don't. My opinion is that if you want to make improvements, you're only going to be able to do that by yourself. So if the only times you train is when people are around or when you have training partners, you're probably not training very often, and you're probably not getting better all around. So you might be able to get better at what you enjoy, but as far as improving as an athlete, like all around skill, that takes a lot of time spent alone, drilling things, working on skills, not necessarily making lines for Instagram and stuff. But actually training,
I
actually
think,
drilling stuff.
I think the word you're looking for is discipline.
Yes.
Parkour is a discipline. You must be disciplined to improve, right?
All right, man. I don't want to take any more questions. I think we're
Yeah.
we're gonna quit on that. If you have any questions or comments for next week, though, please leave them in the comments below. Once again, if you're watching this, thanks so much. We appreciate you. Please give us a like if you like today's episode. Leave a comment and share it with your friends. That's it for me, Renee, Tom. We'll see you guys next week.